A quote referencing Laois by one of the most influential writers of the 20th century was presented to a composer as a creative catalyst. The composition solely was passed on to the dancers to react to. The dance, silent, was presented to the writers to respond to. The piece of writing was passed on to the visual artist to interpret. The concluding ripple is a culmination of all these disciplines. The quote referencing Laois in a portrait of the artist as a young man, James Joyce writes, "At Maryborough, he fell asleep. Here's how the ripple effect went. I love the concept because it's just so open."
I didn't understand anything about it.
Project is about collaborating with other artists. There's something that is specific to Laois.
The idea that we could start with a quote, "At Maryborough, he fell asleep." If you gave that quote to 10 different composers, you would get 10 completely different pieces written.
Yeah, it was just the musician, wasn't it? Was the musician composed music first, and then that was given to the dancers?
What came from you was music, then our connection was the dance, which they got their interpretation from the music. And I believe the visual art, am I correct?
I would admit, I was kind of curious. I would have liked to maybe heard some of the music or something just to see. But then I suppose that would have been more visual, and so would probably influence maybe the painting if I was doing a little bit more.
And then it will be revealed.
My name is Laura Ahmad. I am based here in Laois. I'm a musician. I teach piano, I play flute, and I compose. It just goes to show you how wonderful creativity can be, because if you gave that quote, "At Maryborough, he fell asleep," to 10 different composers, you would get 10 completely different pieces written. My initial reaction to the quote, "At Maryborough, he fell asleep," was to laugh, because it just seemed so absolutely open, and I decided to break it down and try and see what are some of the musical notes that are in those words. So we have A, B, G, E, and F. Once I kind of knew what kind of notes I was going to be using, that put a limitation on the technical aspect of it. Looking at the quote again, "At Maryborough, he fell asleep." What happens when we fall asleep? We dream. So one thing that dreaming would represent to me is how reality can stretch. And with that in mind, I decided to use the compositional technique called augmentation. There are different ways in which you can use augmentation. So one is where you can get the rhythm. So if you have a piece of music and all the notes are, a particular length, but maybe the next time those notes come back, they're going to be double the length, so they're increasing in length. And I just thought that would be quite appropriate, because in dreams, our thoughts do expand. Also, when it comes to the musical patterns as well, if you use a particular motif to stretch the distance between the notes, so da, becomes da, da. So you're making it bigger that way. Another compositional technique that I used when I was working on this piece was the use of retrograde, where you would have either rhythms or melody backwards. Again, I think that fits in with the dream theme, that nothing is just straightforward. I would be hugely curious to see what the rest of the creators come up with. I love the concept because it's just so open. The idea that you could start with a piece of music and just to see where it goes from there. Nature is definitely a source of inspiration for me. I would say probably more animals, the animals in nature rather than, trees or sky or mountains itself. Performing my piece was something that felt a bit new. I wanted to make sure that the performance was right. And I certainly would think of myself as more of a composer rather than a performer. I think the part of the process that I liked the most was just how free it was to have nothing but a quote, "At Maryborough he fell asleep." That could be so many different things to so many different people. So it was just whatever you wanted to do would work. Also, there was no limitations on what instruments or anything like that. So it really was just letting the piece write itself. I chose to record the piece down in St. Lazarian's Church in Knock. That's where I actually played the organ, but it's because of the acoustics in the church. I could have played that piece in my music room and it would not have had the same atmosphere to it. The venue can be so important as to where a piece is performed or where it's recorded.
I'm Erica Borges. I'm Ohr Dance Company artistic director, and I'm from Brazil, but I'm based in Laois, Portugal.
I'm Anya Winter. I'm very new to Ohr. In fact, this is my first project with them. But I work with Erica. I'm a ballet teacher with Erica.
My name's Clelin Doyle, and I've been dancing with Laura for a year. But before that, I was dancing with her other company, LID.
My name is Maryborough. I'm based in Laois, and I've been dancing with Ohr since it's begun, so I don't know how many years it's been.
We have changed contemporary dancing to a language where the audience can totally understand what you're saying by very simple gestures, using gestures, or you can go totally abstract because you don't want them to get you. You want them just to meditate and to reflect on what you want to say.
I think especially for this music, I would definitely, Erica, Erica definitely did guide us from the start. I think it's for me, that's for me. I'm not going to say for everyone. It's like she guided us from the start, and I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing, but if she were to go, okay, this is the song, and we dance, and be like, oh, I'll be standing there like, okay, what we're going to do, but yeah, she definitely helped.
I had to listen to the song, and then I had to listen again, Remastered, and then listen again. If I had listened to the piece and think, okay, I'm going to choreograph it straight to the music, would take me longer. Some songs like this one, it's really abstract. You have to look at yourself, your inner self, and search on what you want to talk about. I think this is one of the few times where I had to imagine myself somewhere or picture myself with something.
I think maybe at the same time, though, because we're all such individuals and we're different dancers, and you go through different experiences as just a human. I think maybe your response to certain themes might be different to other people as well.
I feel like, especially with contemporary, every dancer has something unique and something different. So I kind of see what makes them different and maybe try and put some of them together.
Well, how my mind works is when I listen to music, I'm really thinking of sort of choreography to go to it, whether it be just a corner work or warm up or whatever it is. I'm like just thinking of how I can move to this music.
If I feel like I can't express myself, I'd read something like a poem or something, and that person has perfectly put into words what I can't, and then to kind of solidify my feelings, I would then express it through dance. So it's like kind of a stepping stone for me.
Nature inspires me a lot. And I like to watch other dancers. That inspires me. I follow loads of dance companies, and sometimes I just jump into a workshop or even go audition, even though I never get through. But I just gotta take this audition just to push myself a bit harder to meet new people and to meet the choreographer in charge and see what's going to happen after that. And usually you end up with meeting new people that like your work, have seen you before, but you never had a chance to talk to you. We were recording in the Laois Center in the gallery of the Laois, which is different from this space here. It's larger, and then when we came from the Laois to Dance Leash studio, had to adapt a little bit to space, but that was fine. It was not a problem with that. And I think Donna Mays gives us, with the gallery, especially with the pictures on the wall, at least for me as a choreographer, watching them dancing gives me a different feeling. And as if we are actually working with other artists in the room together. But then when you came here to the dance studio, it's as if it's all about us, not all about ourselves, but we are on our own.
I did enjoy the piece overall. I think it was something different, and I hope that whoever takes this or interprets this next understands what we were doing.
I think calm and connection were definitely kind of the main emotions I got from it. And then I came to the piece a little bit late, so it was really cool to be added in and just kind of like add my own two cents, I suppose. But yeah, it felt like really gentle and unifying, and I liked it a lot.
I think kind of connection as well, because like it's the start of our year together, so it's the first piece we created together, so we just had to dance all together.
I think it was fun, kind of, and added eye contact at the end, so it was kind of a late thing that we put in.
I think everything just came naturally and went all well. Yeah.
Excited to see what happens, after us. Be really interesting to see a poet create something out of dance without knowing what the theme is. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
We're the Mountmellick Library Writers Group. The group was started because I met Hazel and Mary as a course. Sorry, Noreen was in that course. We kind of got together and we approached Olivia, and then she just made it happen.
I find joining groups makes me like it. Sometimes I'm stuck for something to write, or I find it hard to get myself sitting down. And I find that I get ideas from other people and from the facilitator when I go to writing groups.
And I remember the first day I was here, I said, can we call it like a writers group? Because to me, everything we write is creative. So I think creative writing fluxes it up a little bit, but I think I take myself more seriously if I call myself a writer than a creative writer. But
and I'd be the opposite because I wouldn't consider myself a creative writer. I draw on my own experiences, but I think if I was to just write about things I've been through in a memoir, mine would be quite boring. So I do like to jazz it up a bit.
I think I should put up a writer space, especially because I find it very difficult to write at home. So in here, if I did get a writer's block, I read. Joining the group was fantastic for me because I found it hard to sit down and write myself. So when I come here, it actually triggers little emotions and memories that I didn't even realize I had. But now I see it as a really collaborative group that can, take ideas from each other.
Sometimes it's when we sit down and have that cup of tea and we start telling stories or talking about stuff, And we're like, that's a good story. You
You
should write that down.
You know, that happens a lot. And actually, I could do more writing at home afterwards than I sometimes do here.
I would say I feel very proud because I'm living in Laois, and I just feel this sense of excitement and potential about it.
I think you can feel possibility, you know, you can feel energy. And it's also maybe not only about writing, you can kind of, there's other kind of disciplines kind of mixing into it. And like in that way it's great for networking because everybody can just kind of reach out and know somebody who knows somebody and things like that. And then as well, like the Laois County Council is starting up their film bursary and things like that. And there's opportunities for script writing and things like that to go into it. So there's kind of like a grand movement happening. I don't know whether it was here before or not.
I suppose what this group has given to me personally is it's freed up space in my head to consider writing. When you have other people writing around you, like Mary was saying, it kind of inspires you, or maybe gives you the shove that you needed to do it on a regular basis, to have the space.
I kind of like to have a couple of projects going at the same time, and so like if I'm stuck on one, I'll move on to the other, and often just flip back and forth, and then sometimes they can be connected and they're meant to be together. So I just try to, if I'm stuck, fine, move on and start another story, and then often that story becomes the one. And sometimes you just take the space. You get to a point, and it's like, okay, just step back from and leave the space, and then what you've been trying so hard to work out, when you stop and relax and let it go, something can come and it'll happen. You can move, take another step forward with it.
I find running, and I should do more of it. I'd be very, I'd be much better. I have a book out now. I ran one, right? And when I run, it's like the thoughts just shift loose in my brain and all come together. From the action of running. I think it's just that space, that headspace.
Yeah, or just doing something physical. Yeah, like going out and just to take your mind from your head into your body, and dig in the garden or walk.
Usually I would thought it come into my head, and I would run with that because I would always find it. If you don't catch it while it's there, it's gone. So doing that when I seen the film and the dancers, that's what I did. I just ran with the thoughts that I had for that moment. But them coming into the group and trying to fit them in within the group, I think that's a huge leap.
When we started first, we knew that, I can still remember, it was 26th of September, we knew we were getting the video that day. We were all waiting for it, like, and then we decided to watch it on our own. So, everyone has this kind of initial individual thing. And then a few days later we met on our usual day, and we had to try and chat about it then. What did you think? And then you can see so many different aspects to it then.
Yes, it was quite a challenge, I felt, watching the dancers with no music. And when I looked at it first, and they were all in the costumes and dancing, and it wasn't all, they weren't all together in the dance, they were doing individual movements. And then I looked at it a couple of times, and first of all I thought, what am I going to write about this at all? And then I started writing down a few thoughts, and then I elaborating on my thoughts, and eventually it came to me what I was going to write about. There was a lot more in it than seemed to be on first look, I guess, which there is in a lot of cases.
I liked the dance, and it kind of fitted with the way I would like to write anyway. It was kind of the paired back bit and the silence. I found it easier to interpret. I like kind of paired back writing and kind of powerful, short, sharp sentences. I just found that I mightn't have found it as easy to respond to something that was too colourful and busy and everything. Everyone's kind of happy with what they have individually put down on paper for their interpretation.
And some people want their piece, just their piece together, and the rest of us are kind of happy to spread our sentences around.
Yeah.
But I think I'm re-editing it now and trying to get it to flow But actually, what I saw as well is we were expressing the same but different. You know,
Yes,
we all had our own words for the same theme.
But the essence of it was really about life, I guess. But we all can choose from different by using nature again.
Yeah.
As I always say, like, you know.
But I think that was the beauty of the group because we all took it from a totally different perspective. And I think we are coming to a lovely place now where it's just lovely images, lovely words, lovely just the dance, the description of it. So like I think it will be a beautiful piece when it's done, and we're very close, aren't we? So
It is difficult when you can find 3 minutes and a group. That does take quite a bit of editing. We are all individuals going our own way in life, moving at our own pace, comfortable in our own skin. We don't have to follow trends.
And all over my untouched lips, I watch my dancing young ladies and marvel. Who have sent so many of you?
Will I say Pat Byrne or say Pat? I'm Pat. I'm based in Laois in Dunmore, primary folk. My work at the minute is folklore ornithology, Irish folklore ornithology, has been for the last 7 or 8 years. When I first read the piece of writing, I did like the poem itself though. It was just a panic of knowing I had 4 weeks to try and get this done. I can give myself 2 days just to have a bit of time to think about it as well. Like, but after the first couple of days, I did go back to it because I was like, right, okay, that's what I'm kind of taking from it. Sort of spur on, so that's what I'm going to go with. I've been painting like the slew character from Irish mythology quite a bit, and for some unknown reason I decided to try and do that, and it was just a bit of a nightmare really, and backed out that straight away. At the minute what I'm doing is dancer. It's about 4 weeks ago, so I read it. Like, I did like it. I didn't want to go back and reread it either because I was afraid that if I reread it now, it's going to. I'm afraid I got completely wrong now. I've lost maybe 2 weeks, so why would you know? Especially right as well, I was kind of afraid like I'm interpreting this completely wrong. I've probably missed the point of most artwork myself. Like once kind of got a rough idea of the direction how it's going to go in. It's changed a good few times. Like, and at one point I was like, okay, I'll go do my painting. But then I was kind of, I was kind of started maybe thinking about doing an ink drawing or something. Then I didn't need myself enough time to get the materials I needed. I have the sketch that's going on the canvas of the figure, both in terms of like the actual composition. It's gone through in my head, and it's gone through like 4 or 5 different stages, kind of without really settling on anything. I don't know what early kind of things, ideas I had, but I kind of pushed it away because it's too literal. I was going to maybe have a kind of a, for some reason, have like a sort of ripple done with gold leaf coming around, and it's like, why am I put a ripple in? There's no mention of a ripple in the poem. I'd rather someone go in and completely miss the point of me work and take away their own meaning rather than me, well, this is what it's actually about. You know, like, even with the folklore stuff, if someone completely missed the point of sort of the leprechaun, the poop, and didn't unlike, no one believes them anymore, completely missed that grand, if you like colours, sound, you know, that'll do me, I'm happy enough with that. Normally my process is like, I'll get a load of photos and I'll sketch them out, or I'll pick out the ones that I like best and eventually break it down to like just the one that I'm happiest with, and I'll sketch that out then, and once I'm happy with the sketch, I will just get trace off the sketch and transfer it over onto the canvas.
I think of the many parts we must play, spinning our lives away. Do we ever stop to listen?
The process will be the same every time, a good lot of time anyway. The ritual that I'd have for paint would normally be I'd belt on into the studio and I'd mix up a few colours and I'd just start blocking it in. Usually I take the first day to just block in, and I might kill myself. I'll just get the whole thing filled in, and even when it takes, you know, if it takes a whole day or if it takes 10 minutes, I'll go away from then for the next day and then come back. I'll try and hit like at least 5 hours a day if I can, or more. Depending on how it's going. If the paint starts to go wrong, or it's kind of like, I tend to work wet, you know, sometimes like paint can build up and it'll just get messy. If it's just not working out, I'll just go away from it, I'll just scrape it off, start again. I kind of landed on the figure in the painting. I suppose we quote about the Celtic red hair. Again, I tried to use the slew shoehorn in some own kind of themes into it, but I couldn't get a photo that one and that sentiment is kind of, that's what it was, just shoehorn in, so it didn't work. And when I got the dancer, I felt like, great, that's one piece of puzzle done, but it was still sort of going back and messing with the idea of using ripple with the gold leaf, but I just felt like I was interpreting the title of the project more than the poem itself. So I was kind of playing around with that, how to trying to figure out a way that maybe make the ripple more abstract, like doing just little circles, but like freehand, no way I was going to do perfect circles with gold leaf. So I think there's a line about the leaves and that flutter leaves something in the poem. So I said I'd try doing something like that with this. Actually, two sketches. So I did the sketch of the woman jumping in the air, and then I did a separate sketch of all the leaves, just so I could kind of trace them off and come down over sketch the woman and see where they're lining up. So kind of without really realising that, kind of I suppose making deliberate decisions where I wanted the leaves to go, where I just gone in kind of randomly. I think I went through about probably 8 or 9 different in my head iterations of what it might be. Even the poses for the figure in it. But it's just I'm happy with how it's going so far. And I love the collaboration because I haven't done that. I don't know if I've done that since college, that kind of thing, like, you know, and jumping one of the steps to the overall project was really nice. I was working from something completely fresh again. It wasn't just here's the characters from folk that I work with. It was just, you know, someone else's work as well. So I wanted to try and make sure that I got maybe what they were trying to get out of the work. Like, you know, I didn't want to. My biggest fear is that I'm going to do a paint and it's going to look like it didn't even read piece of writing. Like, you know, you just what's this? I am happy with that. With the paint that I've done so far. Again, that was the biggest fear with the ripple. I was afraid, like, is it too literal? Like, am I just taking because it's a dancer? It's just again something different from what I normally do. I love paint for the first time a little bit. I was having fun with it. I suppose that fact too that I didn't really have a definite idea in my head of where I wanted to work. Also, I was changing as I was doing, like, you know. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this, and I'm happy enough how it's going. So.
We are all individuals, going our own way in life, moving at our own pace, comfortable in our own skin. We don't have to follow trends. The dancers here are individuals. The dancing is not perfect, but they are enjoying what they're doing, concentrating on their movements, not influenced by the others.
Like the grey blue of a cold morning, they came in pairs, as the swoosh and sway claiming their own space. These domino dancers with no shoes point their outstretched fingers up to the sky, embracing their imperfections, like hatchlings, growing strong and brave.
And then arose within a Viking warrior, inked in tattoos. Her Celtic red hair scooped back in a bun, ready to get this dance begun. And like a mighty turbulence from heaven, she let out a rip of a long-legged kick, with a toe held like the point of a stick. The sisters soon follow suit, with the limbs swaying, bowed but unbroken, free to move independently like leaves in the wind. Symmetry in his harmony, yet all connected to one source. Conceiving, hatching, growing like nestlings, these dancers come alive, lift, fall, sway. Courage of expression, to be unique and to be seen. Spreading their angel wings wide, they play with us, massage us, roll us, and separate us.
Whooshing, swooshing, swirling around, reaching, jumping, kicking, dropping low down. One flows away, 3 graces continue. There is beauty in bubbling, flowering, never stagnating. 4 powerful spinning seasons, many individual rhythms within a group beat.
I think of the many parts we must play, spinning our lives away. Do we ever stop to listen, to our heart's desires, dreams and visions. Some may stop and ponder and reach for the pinnacle of wonder. Off the merry-go-round, though still sleeping, to feel our hearts are fiercely beating. This is the dance of life. Power and grace cohabit. We are our own, yet together. What one of us does ripples on to the next, and on like the passage of time.
In my dream, her hands hold your fingers, soft and long to their tips, while her arms extend around my room, and all over my untouched lips. I watch my dancing young ladies and marvel. Who have sent so many of you